So I want to talk about a document. It's called The Reason and Reasons of Dissent of the Minority of the Convention of the State of Pennsylvania to their Constituents. And in this document, I know it's difficult to see, this was the best one I could find. It talks about why they revised and amended the Articles of Confederation. And this is just some information on how we need to look at what happened. Okay, so it starts off up here where it's talking about the United States being an independent nation, which I've never actually read anywhere in any of the documents that the United States was an independent nation. The United States of America was an independent nation, and the United States seems to be just an agency that controlled federal lands for the United States of America. The United States in the Constitution appears just to be the military. And you see that in the preamble where it says the United States does some things for the United States of America, and also in the President's Article 2 powers where it talks about the two offices of the President, one being Executive of the United States of America, and the second being the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. Two different powers. So it goes on and talks about the problems that they encountered under the Articles of Confederation during the Revolutionary War. And one of the problems was that the Articles of Confederation did not give the federal government the right or power to use force against the states. So some of the states agreed to pay some impost, but then when it came time to pay up, they never passed legislation to actually pay the impost. Another problem was that some states weren't even showing up to the Congress during the Revolutionary War in order to form a quorum to be able to move the country or move the states to do certain things to help win the war. Some of the information I just talked about is not necessarily in this document, but in the notes of the Continental Congress. So down here we see a little bit of information on what happened with the Articles of Confederation, the states, and the Constitution. And I'm going to start right here. With this view, a convention was first proposed by Virginia and finally recommended by Congress for the different states to appoint deputies to meet in convention. Quote, for the purposes of revising and amending the present Articles of Confederation so as to make them adequate to the exigencies of the Union, end quote. This recommendation the legislators of 12 states complied with so hastily as not to consult their constituents on the subject. And though the different legislatures had no authority from their constituents for the purpose, they probably apprehended the necessity would justify the measure, and none of them extended their ideas at that time further than, quote, revising and amending the present Articles of Confederation, end quote. Pennsylvania, by the act appointing deputies, expressly confined their powers to this object. And though it is probable that some of the members of the Assembly of this state had at that time in contemplation to annihilate the present Confederation as well as the Constitution of Pennsylvania, yet the plan was not sufficiently matured to communicate it to the public. So they're saying that annihilating the Article of Confederation and the state constitution wasn't something that they hadn't thought of, but it was something that they didn't do because they didn't have time to propose this to the people, their constituents. The constituents in a state hold all the power because they are the people, and the people are the sovereign. The people are the ones that create a state. You can't have a state without people, and you have to have enough people to create a state. If you don't create a state, you're just a colony. So in order to annihilate a state constitution or something that does have power of the people, they would have to go to the people and ask for that power. They didn't have time to do it, so they couldn't do it, so they couldn't annihilate the Articles of Confederation or the state constitution. Even though they say here that some people, some members, probably wanted to, they couldn't, because they always have to have the backing of the people, because the people create the government, and then the states create the federal government. So without the backing of the people, without bringing it to the constituents for a vote, they couldn't. And so they extended their ideas at that time. None of them extended their ideas at that time further than just revising and amending the present Articles of Confederation. Okay, so I'll provide a link to you to this document. You can read the whole thing yourself. This is one page, three columns on this page, and lots of information in here. And like, share, and subscribe. This is Jen the Liberty Lion, and I'll see you in the next video.